If you or your loved ones are headed out of the country on vacation, you could be putting your lives at risk. It's, though, probably not what you think. Our travel editor, Peter Greenberg, is here with a warning. Peter.
Good morning, Lester. In fact, it's true. Along with your passport, your sunscreen, and any shots you may need, you should also bring along with you a healthy dose of defensive driving skills. It could save your life. Road accidents are the #1 killer of Americans overseas.
My dad took his travel very seriously, planned for it, prepared for it. This was his 128th country.
On his last day in Uganda, veteran traveler Jerry Neal was killed when a packed minibus collided with his car, driven by a local hired driver.
You think about getting sick, you think about infectious diseases, you think about maybe getting robbed, but the last thing you're thinking about is driving.
After months of research, Alyssa discovered the cause of her father's death was a common occurrence, one mostly unknown to tourists.
Maybe he wouldn't have gone to Uganda, maybe he would have gone to another country.
The World Health Organization estimates over 1 million people die in road accidents worldwide. State Department figures show at least 200 Americans are killed each year overseas in road accidents. Topping the list, Mexico, Germany, Spain, Italy, and Vietnam.
We don't even have the numbers of the people who are injured and then medevac out of the country and die elsewhere.
12 years ago, Rochelle Sobel's son, Aaron, a med student volunteering at a Turkish hospital, was on his way to the airport to catch his flight home when his bus careened off a road well known by locals for its danger.
It has to go through committee.
Rochelle then started Assert, a non-profit organization that posts online road reports for 150 countries.
We consider tourists vulnerable road users. They do not know what to be afraid of. They do not know where the risks are.
American drivers are extraordinarily polite.
Ed Wren teaches all kinds of road safety to multinational corporations. There's also rules for being a passenger as well as just being a driver. People never think when they get in the back of a taxi cab in Egypt or Italy or Turkey. I mean, these guys are going to drive like out of control. At what point do you have to make a real definite move to be assertive?
If they do something which you consider to be too risky, get them to stop, get out, pay them, and walk away.
Most people won't do that, though.
This is a social problem we all have because we don't want to cause offense, but the price, the downside could be your life.
An unfortunate price paid by Rochelle Sobel's son.
Aaron was a physician. His dream was to save lives, and I feel it's now our mission to save lives in his honor.
Now, while the State Department figures hover around 200 Americans dying each year, you also should note that it doesn't include Americans who are injured, it doesn't include Americans who leave the country and then die later, and of course it doesn't include accidents that are just not reported.
I'll tell you, Peter, I'm glad you're doing this story. I talk about this all the time. I was in a car crash covering a story in Africa once, and believe me, there was no AAA to cover out there in the bush. Are we talking just auto accidents here?
No, we're also talking pedestrian accidents, especially in countries where they drive on what we would call the wrong side of the road. Americans make classic errors. I've done it myself in London. They look left when they should be looking right when you're crossing the corner. A lot of people get injured and killed doing that.
How do you find out what you need to know about what's happening traffic-wise and relative traffic safety in a country you're visiting?
Well, you can go on the U.S. State Department website, and they do have the information, but I have to warn you, they don't make it easy to find. You have to go through a number of keystrokes to find it. Once you do, they do have some helpful hints. Also, the Association for Safe International Road Driving, Assert, right, they have a great website, which, as we said in our piece, lists all the different road hazards by country.
Mexico topped the list, I think, in terms of American fatalities. Is there more to that statistic than the number shows?
Yeah, it's a numbers game because more Americans are going to Mexico, so,
sure.
So that's how that works. But most experts now are concerned about China. They think that China is probably the biggest growing danger to road safety in the world.
And the funny thing is, a lot of times we come back from trips, and it's a great story to tell. Oh, they drive like nuts over there, or wherever.
Yeah, but you have to understand, it's a cultural thing, too. For example, in Cairo, I have to say it, traffic lights are purely ornamental. Just because the light turns red doesn't mean people are going to stop. I mean, I was in a cab once in Cairo, and the light turned red, and the cab driver was honking. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, the light hears me, and the light will turn green." And I'm going, no, it doesn't work that way. And the point is, if you're in a cab or in a car that you don't know who the driver is or their expertise, you have the right, as our experts have said, to get out and just get out. Just get out of that car.
And please, if they have them, put on the seatbelt.
Sometimes
they don't have them.
How many people drive in taxi cabs even in this country, which, by the way, I should tell you, leads the world in automobile deaths? This country, 44,000 people a year, but they don't put their seatbelts on when they're sitting in the back seat.
Peter, really good information. Thanks for being here and doing this. Appreciate it. For more information, just go to our website, todayshow.com.